today we have the pleasure of speaking with actress Yolonda Ross. She currently plays the role of Jada on The Shy. What made you decide to take on the role of Jada?
uh, I understood the language. I understood who she was. It's funny because like that year when that part came through to me to audition for, it was like one or two jobs that really stood out to me. And when you're reading something and learning it to audition for it, when the words just kind of roll off your tongue without any thought, that has a lot to say about the writing and who this character is. So I just really related to her and understood her. So it was, yeah, I really wanted to bring her to life.
Great. So, over the season, we've seen Jada go through several trials and tribulations. Were there any times that you felt it was difficult to embody this character?
Um, no, and I mean, I feel like it, just to be clear on it, anytime there's something that really makes you work, makes you think, makes you want to put in the work, that's exciting. So whatever they come up with for her, I'm ready for it and looking forward to it, because I think nobody wants a character that's one note. You want
Exactly.
to show all the colors.
You've done a good job at that. So this season, it seems like the show was really focused on Black love, and we finally seen Jada fully embrace her relationship with Darnell. So I'm gonna ask you, what are your thoughts on forgiveness in relationships?
Ooh, yeah, that's that's interesting because we just did the recap last night, which they asked that question too, and I'm open for second chances and that kind of thing. I really do feel like it's per situation, so
Okay.
yeah, I feel like there's times when things can be done, where and you're done. You're done.
Right.
You know, just like how we fall in love with people, and sometimes we have no control over that. Once something happens that clicks something in you and you turn off, sometimes you're just off and you can't turn back on.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I feel like that's how I am. It's not a matter of us working things out or whatever. It's like I know when I get to a certain point, it's done. It's done.
Now we saw him buy that house for her without her looking at it, and that was a big little thing on Twitter. So I want to know personally, would you have appreciated if a man bought you a house without seeing it?
um, that's that yeah, that's a funny thing. Like that's a lot. That's a
It
lot.
is.
And it's like also it's a hard thing for me to answer because I am so literal as a person. I don't think anybody can just buy a house without sight unseen, unless we're doing an episode of like flip it or something. One of those things where they're
Right.
putting up the house. It's one of those things where of course you're going to be appreciative, but that's a lot of money. And then it's
Right.
probably money that I'm going to have to be putting in at some point, because it's not like the house is just, he just put down how many hundreds of thousands or whatever and just paid for it in cash. Um, yeah, I'd have to be in on that because, I don't know this man's taste after all this time. I don't know
Exactly.
what his whole finance situation is. Nothing. So yeah, I'd have probably more thoughts about it in another way than a positive way.
No, I agree with you. So now that Darnell and Jada are husband and wife, do you think they will be happily ever after?
I hope they'll be working on it, because that's a daily thing to
Yeah.
work on a relationship. It doesn't just stay, that day was happy, but love and relationships are constant work. And I hope that they
Amen.
both constantly work on being happy with each other.
Now, you've been on the Shy since day one. Do you have a favorite memory on set with the cast?
Hmm. Um, my cast is usually Emmett or Darnell or both. Just recently, I've started being with other actors, like kind of like the women's group. I I actually a favorite of mine, which actually nobody's seen because it didn't make it to air, was a scene done last season where Jada was going through cancer, and there was a moment, which was actually the night that the Keisha's character had her baby,
Okay.
and I was supposed to go back. Jada was supposed to go back to Emmett's house for dinner. That night, Darnell was there, and it was her walking into Emmett's place with the both of them knowing what that she's going through cancer now. Like Emmett had told Darnell, and it was seeing the three of them together as a unit, taking in this information, and uh, just how heartfelt it was, and just seeing the weight of that amongst the family members. That was a kind of a very beautiful moment for
Wow, I
me.
wish we could have seen it.
I do too. Yeah, think about it, because like that to me is like the one moment that stays in my mind, is that it was a quiet scene, very little. Had hardly any words in it. It was probably less than a minute, about a minute, and
Hmm.
it was her walking into that and just kind of like seeing each one of them, how the recognition that, especially between Darnell and Jada, that he knew what she was going through now,
Right.
and in that moment, and how she just kind of fell into him, and in that moment. So
No, it sounds beautiful. I'm kind of upset they took it out.
that was, because to me it was
Yeah.
kind of like the beginning of what would have been like for people to see how things kind of got to where they are now. You know,
Yeah. That makes sense. It makes sense. It
yeah,
was like the prelude to that.
yeah.
So you've been in several roles throughout your career. Do you have a favorite?
I mean, I do love Jada.
Hmm.
I gotta say, my first though, Treasure, Stranger
Okay.
Inside. She's still everything to me. That character.
That's awesome. So how did you get your start as an actress?
I being here in New York, everything's about making money, and see, it's because it's so expensive. A friend of mine did background work on SNL, and one weekend she got sick and she couldn't do it. So I was like, can I fill in? I'm a body. You're just
Right.
there, whatever. It's Saturday Night Live. It's a Saturday. I'm not working. Make a couple $100. Get to see the musical guests, hang out. It was fun, and they let me keep doing it every week. So like late
Wow.
'90s, I'm in a lot of SNL skits, and I got my union card, and that led to my first audition, which was New York Undercover, which was my first job, like my first acting job, and that really moved something in me, because I had been in the fashion business, which to me had kind of gotten boring,
Okay.
and so to have something where I was learning something new, and with acting, each job is a whole new project. So I mean, each episode, even on a show, is a new project. It was exciting to me, and I can learn something with each job, with each character. That was very interesting to me, and learning parts of myself that I might not ever get to use as Yolanda. Um, that was it. That was it. I was taken with it. And then, it was like 4 years later when I got the next, which was Stranger Inside. And getting to be somebody for a month or so, you are now like somebody else has taken over your body and mind and everything. And that was it was very surreal and interesting because I learned parts of me that, like I said, I just never used before. I didn't know were there, or maybe I did but didn't have that outlet. Acting is an outlet, and
Yeah.
especially for people like for me, I'm a pretty quiet person, and I also am just not out there a lot, so I don't really like being around a lot of people. But I do have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot in me, and I need this to breathe. I need acting to breathe, writing and directing as well.
No, it really translate. I think for you, like Jada, watching your character and how it's developed, because the role was, I don't know if it was initially put like this, as like a smaller role, and then she just grew over time. So it's like every time I'm like, I can't wait for the scenes with Jada and Darnell. Or like, I was looking for that because it kind of, the show was kind of positioned in a different way and it's different now. You know what I mean? Because you're working on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
It's funny.
appreciate the growth and the depth that we've been able to see in the
On
characters.
camera. I
Yeah.
do too. And Lena really did speak to that last night on Instagram. She was like, she said that grew from my, work with Rolando, like us working so well together. Uh, it ended up, it took on a life of its own. So I'm glad it did. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
we see it as viewers. So do you have a dream role, something you haven't played yet that you want to?
Yeah, they're all things I've written. So yeah, I gotta get
Okay.
time. Yeah.
So when you're not acting, I know you said you like to stay to yourself. What do you do in your free time?
I write, also paint. I don't know. I feel like you say free time. It's like I feel like I'm always doing something,
Okay.
but it all pretty much involves art of some sort. I collect black art from black artists, and I just I'm around doing stuff, making stuff.
So do you like, you've mentioned writing, do you prefer to be behind the camera or do you like to be on camera if you had
I
a
like
choice?
both. I like both. I mean, it's I don't want to. I'm not torn by it, but it's like it's so in the moment with becoming somebody else and having bringing a character to life, like that is electric, when
Yeah.
you're doing that. With writing and directing, it's so interesting because you spend so much time alone making that world, making the character, and then it's I'm in awe of the moment when you see that come to life in other people. It's crazy to hear the words and see the scene play out that you wrote. And it's just a whole nother delight in a different way. So I would say the one thing that I want to get to the point where I'm not in things that I write, because I definitely have to shut my head off in one place to then bring the other to life when I'm acting something out that I've written. But when I can, see scenes that don't involve me, it's amazing to see.
So you've had a long career. Is there anything else that you want to do that you
Just
haven't
keep
tapped
going
into?
with it. Literally, it's really do more of the directing and creating, because it's like
Okay.
that stuff. This business, the way it's set up, they really want you to stay in one place. And if you can't actually do all these other things, it's almost like they can't wrap their minds around that. I want to be able to do all of it all at the same time.
Yeah, you're not a monolith. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm on American Gigolo, which is also on Showtime, and I that starts August. I mean, we're in September 9th, tomorrow night. And I
Okay.
play Julian's friend, landlord, every kind of all around person that he confides things in and talks to and all that. And she's also an artist, so that's really cool. I got to do some stuff there with that. And I got to write on that as well. So, you
Wow,
know.
so you'll be writing and acting, so you got to do both. That's good. So, what type of show would you put that in the category? Is it a drama, comedy?
Was based on the film, the 80s film American Gigolo. So
Okay.
it's definitely drama, little action, but drama.
I really appreciate your time today, and I want to say congratulations on season 6 of The Shy. We can't wait to see what's going to happen with that. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today, and I really wish you the best on all your future endeavors.
Thank you.